Hello, grade 10, and welcome to a new reading comprehension lesson with a new theme, natural disasters. Our lesson is about one of the most devastating natural disasters that has happened in recent years. Australian wildfires declared among the worst wildlife disasters in modern history. Okay, this is the article's title. Now, as you see in front of you, we have different pictures of different natural disasters. This is what our lesson will be about. The first one with the kangaroo. This is a real picture from the wildfires in Brazil. The second one, of course, is an erupting volcano. And then this is a tornado, or some people call it the twister, which is an equally devastating natural disaster that occurs mostly in the United States and Canada. Okay, now let's first of all distinguish between natural phenomena and natural disasters. Natural phenomena is a term used to describe an event that is not made or caused by humans, even though it may affect them. However, natural phenomena are not artificial, and natural phenomena are not destructive. They're generally beautiful phenomena, strange, sometimes weird. Examples: rainbows, weather changes, erosion, sunrise, tidal flows, the blood moon, electromagnetic pulses, etc. You have, the green aurora you see in the north parts of Scandinavia. Okay, and of course, those do not cause any disasters. They do not cause any destruction in property or loss of life. Now, natural disasters, on the other hand, are natural occurrences that do cause great damage and loss in life. Earthquakes, wildfires, floods, volcanoes, tsunamis, avalanches. Okay. Now, we notice something. Natural disasters such as wildfires and floods are on the rise everywhere, and it has been increasingly proven that human activities are a major culprit. Pollution and the overuse of fossil fuels, along with careless behavior such as throwing garbage in bushes, and arson, which is purposely lighting fire, have led to the devastation of vast forest lands, especially in Australia and Brazil. But of course, we witness it in different parts of the world. In Lebanon, it's on the rise. This phenomenon has led to the perish or death of millions of species of plants and animals, many of which are already endangered. Okay, again, the picture, very, very famous picture. Okay, our lesson. Read the article below, which discusses the devastating effects of escalating wildfires, increasing wildfires, sweeping through Australia. Then work out the exercises that follow. The introduction: nearly 3 billion animals were affected by Australia's worst wildfire season. Guys, this number is staggering. 3 billion. Okay. That burned from last July through March, scientists announced Tuesday, a figure almost 3 times higher than original estimates. The report, released Tuesday and commissioned by the Worldwide Fund for Nature Australia, said more than 46 million acres were scorched. Of course, an acre is 1,000 meters squared. 46 million acres were scorched, totally burned. An estimate in January said 1.25 billion animals were affected. This ranks as one of the worst wildfire disasters in modern history, Dermot O'Gorman, the organization's chief executive officer, said in a statement. It's hard to think of another event anywhere in the world in living memory that has killed or displaced that many animals. Okay, 10 researchers from Australia universities and wildlife groups involved in the report have been looking at both the impact of the wildfires and the possible ways to protect the ecosystems in the future. The affected wildlife includes 143 million mammals, 2.46 billion reptiles, 180 million birds, and 51 million frogs. It's almost impossible to comprehend how many individuals that actually means. Lily Van Eden, a researcher at the University of Sydney and a co-author of the report, told NBC News. The jump in the estimated animals affected compared to the January report is due to a wider geographic area being studied and new data on wildlife, she said. Okay, as we see in the picture, this is a koala, which is a marsupial, animals that carry their young in their pouches. It was one of the most affected animals during the fires, and it is already endangered. Despite the increased scope of the research, Van Eden cautioned, the estimate is still quite conservative. So the numbers might rise. Invertebrate species such as spiders and butterflies were not noticed, and neither was a range of wildlife that lives in waterways like turtles. The report does not put an exact figure on how Okay, so the report does not put an exact figure on how many animals were killed because of limited evidence left behind by the fires and the uncertainty of the volume that escaped and continued to thrive. The report said, in addition to the immediate threat of fires, other factors influencing the mortality of wildlife death include inhalation, smoke inhalation, of course, that could be deadly because of inhaling CO and CO2, heat stress and dehydration, okay, when you lose all the water in your body, and increased competition for resources and in their new habitats, the report said. Okay, it remains unclear what the impacts are on species outside the fire zone. Rainfall that washed away sediment and ash into waterways could have implications for wildlife downstream and still needs to be studied, Van Eden said. The magnitude, okay, the largesse or the grandeur of the devastation can't be compared to any other environmental event, she said, in part because this is a first to measure the effect on wildlife. The report recommended better protection of unburnt habitat and establishing rapid response teams to rescue threatened species and habitats when fires happen in the future. As extreme weather, the fires become more frequent with climate change. Again, a major reason behind this increase in wildfires. Van Eden said the findings can help to better understand what this means to threatened species and ecosystems, and perhaps also inform management actions and how we plan for these sorts of things happening in the future. Okay, now let's take a look at the questions here. Refer to the map below in order to answer the following questions orally. List 5 major cities affected by the wildfires in Australia as per this map here. Okay, cities, the ones with red and the white dot. Okay, you have Brisbane, one of the largest Australian cities, Sydney, the most famous Australian city, Melbourne, all are affected. Okay, mostly around Sydney, the area, Melbourne definitely, Adelaide, okay, Perth, okay. And you notice that the fires, okay, the fire is the ones with the orange points, mostly at the peripheries of the nation. Mostly affected were the peripheries of the nation, and to a much lesser extent, the the inside of Australia, the interior. Okay, so what date does the map display? What does that tell you about the climate pattern in Australia in comparison to your country? First of all, this is the date, January 16. Okay, Australia is often referred to as the upside down country or the land down under. Everything is inverted there. So over there, Christmas is in summer. So January 16, okay, this shows us that this is the heat season in Australia, or the summer season. How is it different from Lebanon? Of course, Lebanon, January is mid-winter season. Okay, refer to the text to figure out the meanings of the words below using context clues. We will do that together. Okay, in class we will refer back to the text and you guys will have to answer those questions. Okay, now the bar graph below depicts the number of acres burned annually in California wildfires. Now, two of the most devastated areas by wildfires in recent years have been Australia and California in Western United States. So let's analyze this chart together. The bar graph below depicts the number of acres, again an acre is 1,000 square meters, burned annually in California wildfires since 2010. Okay, so we're going to have to compare 2010 and 2020. Okay. 2010, this was the number. Okay, then it obviously moving up and then flattens, up, down, up, up. Okay, and then if you are to study this curve, you notice at the beginning maybe it was fluctuating, but then the curve since 2016 has been a steady rise. And if we were to compare 2010 to 2020, okay, the increase of burned acres of land is simply huge. Okay. Okay, so this is it. We will discuss these further in more details during Zoom Live. Please, if you have any questions, jot them down and ask me. See you then.